Hello everyone, this is Mike. Welcome to my channel, Mike the Tech Savvy. This is the full review of the Xperia 5 flagship device from Sony, which I already unboxed. And well, I gave it a first look a few weeks ago. Ever since, I have used this device as a daily driver, and I guess now is the time for a fully fledged review. Let's dive right into it. I'll put the box aside because we already know what's inside it, and I'll bring the phone. Me being in the minority, I guess, I'm kind of looking for a smaller size flagship, and this was a pretty good choice, I might say, and a quite unexpected one from Sony. So previously in the past we had real compact flagships from Sony, but now we have this, well, weird aspect ratio, which makes the device quite tall and narrow at the same time. I will go quickly through the specs, and then I will take you through some major advantages and disadvantages that I noticed. Typical for a flagship device, we have a frame made out of aluminum, which is pretty good and really nice to the touch. Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and on the rear of the device. This whole phone has about 160 grams, and of course you have an IP rating. We have everything here, so all the ports are sealed. On the top as well, this mic port here. The device feels quite premium in hand. On the rear we have 3 cameras. All 3 have 12 megapixels. We have a primary, let's call it wide camera. We have a ultra wide camera. And last but not least, we have a telephoto with only 2x magnification. And of course, these cameras feature some very interesting tweaks from Sony, which I'll discuss about very soon in this video. We have a typical, well, not so exciting front camera, only 8 megapixels, pretty good chipset inside. We have the Snapdragon 855, the top CPU from last year, 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage. Battery is pretty decent at around 3100 milliamp hour, and coupled with this Snapdragon 855 does a pretty good job. We have dual speakers, one here which acts as an earpiece as well, and one on the bottom, which is this one here. For the first time we have separated buttons, if I may call them so. We have a power button, camera button, and here a fingerprint reader. Usually these two are coupled into just one, but well, this is the case. Right now we have the volume rocker here, and that's about it. Of course, the addition, or rather the fact that they kept this camera button, Sony has done it for quite a while now, is quite nice. It gives you the appearance of a camera and not necessarily a phone. I will talk about the most obvious thing, which is the size. I will probably make a comparison videos with other compact flagships, but when I take a look at it by itself, it's quite narrow, it's easy to use with one hand. Sony has added some, well, software tweaks to make it even easier than this. As you may notice here, I don't have any chance of reaching the top part of the device, but if I tap here 3 times, I get this, well, one-handed mode, which makes it easier for me to press buttons here or basically do anything with one hand only. And if I tap the blank area, it will go back into full screen mode. Sony has also added some sort of shortcut with these, which are called side sense. I don't like this, and it's pretty bad compared to what Pixel 3a had, so that those side sensors that you just pushed and you could make the phone do something. This is quite bad. I will show you right now. You have to double tap the side of the device, and as you can see, it's kind of a, well, mixed bag. It doesn't really work. You have to hold it in a certain way. Maybe if you get used to it, it will work. For me, it's not really my cup of tea. Now that we're in this, well, usability portion of the review, I will tell you right off the bat that the fingerprint scanner is not the best around. Even if we have a typical capacitive fingerprint scanner, It's definitely not the best, so the S10e has a much better one, which works better with wet fingers or something like that. I cannot say I didn't expect it, but the previous Sony devices I think had a better one. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but this one is not that good, and it's frustrating at times. What's nice about this Sony device is that you have this card slot here, and yes, it's very easy to remove. You don't have to have something sharp, just like you do with typical devices from Samsung. This one is very easily removable, so you can very easily add a micro SD, remove a micro SD, add a SIM card, remove it, and something like that. Of course, from a usability perspective, we have these bezels on top and on the bottom, which aren't that appealing. Still, you have at least one advantage because of this, which is the notification LED. So you have a notification LED, and this is quite unusual. Phones don't have notification LEDs anymore. As I mentioned, this camera button is quite nice, and all manufacturers should add it as far as I'm concerned. Yes, you do not have a headphone jack, but you get an adapter in the box, at least that. With the Xperia 10 2, you get the headphone jack, and with the Xperia 1 2 as well. But looks like there wasn't a follow-up to this one yet. Maybe there will be this year. I've seen some rumors on the internet, I'm not really sure yet. The display is really good, it's only Full HD, but it has a very good color reproduction and pretty decent brightness. You get this Cine Alta thing. This comes along whenever you open Netflix or any other app that, well, the phone detects as requiring a high fidelity color reproduction. The battery life is good, you don't have a big battery, only 3100 milliamp hours, but coupled with this CPU, well, it's decent, much more decent than the Exynos, I can say that straight off the bat. There you go, a couple of benchmarks. We have a single core score of 723 and 2500 multi-core score. The audio quality from these two speakers is okay-ish. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's okay. Here's the unboxing video for this one. It's true that because of this aspect ratio, whenever you watch a video and you want to see it on the full screen, it will definitely crop a lot of the image. You can see here that some parts are not visible anymore. Most modern movies are filmed in this aspect ratio, 21:9, and it's pretty immersive. Otherwise, if you watch a lot of content in the 16:9 formats, this is a definite disadvantage with these black bars on the sides. At least it's an OLED display, so this is real black. It's not really a fake one, just like with IPS LCD displays or something like that. The software used here is pretty good. Sony has always impressed me. They have a rather stock-like approach to Android. And let me just try and bring down this dark theme. Yeah, it looks, well, a bit better now. I guess it's a bit more visible. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like the fact that it's quite stock. It's quite debloated. You don't have a lot of bloatware out of the box. You have maybe a couple of apps, but you can very easily disable them. Samsung does much worse in this. It's true that recently they've reduced the bloatware, but still it's way worse than here. As a stock unique app, you have the Cinema Pro app, which is borrowed from the Xperia 1 and which will give you some manual controls upon filming. So yeah, it's really interesting. You can, well, do a lot of things. You can see the lenses here, the ultra wide here, 16mm, f2.4. This is the wide angle lens, 26mm, f1.6. And this is the telephoto 2x lens, and here you can set everything manually: white balance, ISO, shutter speed, focusing, and everything. It's quite nice. It heats the phone quite a lot as well. Of course, you have the typical camera. I don't like how the switch works between the three cameras. So on Samsung you have the three trees here or something like that. Here, if you're on the main camera and you want to switch to the ultra wide, you have to pass through the telephoto, and sometimes you get an error and you have to restart the camera. Yeah, it's quite unusual. It's not the fastest one, but the quality is good. I mean, there's nothing to, well, differentiate it that bad from the other competitors in this price range. It's more or less the same thing. You can film in 4K just like you would with any other device. I guess it's 4K 30 if I'm not mistaken. Of course, you get the warning that it might heat up, but it's good enough. You will definitely not feel that you've been robbed out of an experience because you chose this device and because you chose Sony. Also because of the fact that you have a very stock-like Android. This one will feel very fast. It's incredibly fast. Whatever app you choose to open, you have this 3D creator thing, which is also unique, and you definitely feel that you have a flagship device in your hands whenever you're using it. If I was to tell you the major advantages of this, would be the fact that it's slim, it's quite compact. Yeah, I know it's not compact, but you don't really have any more compact devices nowadays, compact flagships at least in the Android realm. You have a pretty decent package overall, nice software, nice hardware. It's quite debloated if that's what you're into. So overall it's not bad. You have good software updates. Sony is usually pretty good at this. You have a pretty good display as far as brightness and color reproduction goes. You have a good battery life. You have the typical things for Sony, so stereo speakers and IP68 certification. And as major disadvantages, I would definitely say that you have the usual stuff, so no 3.5mm jack. Unfortunately, even if you have a glass back, this phone does not support wireless charging. You only have NFC, which is kind of a bummer. As always, the ultra-wide doesn't have autofocus. This is the case with the S10 as well. And yeah, the bezels are kind of a letdown, even if they bring some advantages, which I discussed about earlier. But overall, it's a device which you can definitely live with. I quite like it. It's not bad at all. I was expecting it to be much worse, honestly, before I took it. I was quite surprised. Of course, feel free to ask me anything about it. I've used it more than enough to answer right about any question about it. It's definitely one of the top choices if you're in the market for a compact flagship right now in 2020. And of course, with the note that compact is not really compact anymore, but you get what I mean when you're comparing this with a Xperia 1 device, which is probably this tall. You will understand. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please do press the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more similar videos in the future, also press the subscribe button, which will be displayed right here in the bottom left part. Of course, if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. This was Mike the Tech Savvy. Thank you so much once again. In the video description, you can find the previous unboxing video from this one and all the links for my social media pages, along with my Patreon account. Wish you a great day, stay safe, bye!